Okay, everybody, now let's do part 2, which is the Codependent Counselor. I just have lunch. I hope there's nothing in my teeth. Anyway, if there is, just cope. Okay, let's take a look. This is an actual book written by Philip Beebe called The Codependent Counselor. And his premise is that we both bring our own history of, I'd say, attachment, but he says histories into the relationship. And so it does affect, our ability with clients to establish trust and intimacy and respect. And so that basically, I'm not going to be one kind of attachment person out in the world and a whole nother attachment person in the room. Okay? Now, the counseling role creates a certain amount of a barrier in a way that allows connection and intimacy because you really cannot merge. But this will be hard. For the avoidant people, that's actually more comfortable. In fact, they actually can be sometimes feel more connected to clients because there's a boundary and they can't merge. Whereas anxious people may find it uncomfortable because they're going to come up against that boundary when their instinct is to dive in. Okay? So regardless of theoretical orientation, he says therapists are susceptible to codependent attitudes and behaviors described in this following. The investment of self-esteem in patient change. So our vulnerability is the idea that we should be able to make people get better. I should have the ability to convince you or somehow help make you see that recovery is better, sobriety is a better lifestyle. I should be able to help prevent a relapse. So this kind of investment in whether or not the client takes my direction means I'm good at what I do. We can already see the problem there, can't we? Clearly, we don't have that kind of power. Okay? Remember that that's a good thing. It means that the kind of person I am can be very helpful, but it's not a deal breaker. Okay? No one counselor has the ability to make another person stay clean or use. I can increase the motivation by being a decent human being and by using my good counseling skills and being emotionally available. I can't make them do anything. All right, B is the assumption of responsibility for clients. So our vulnerability is we suppress our personal feelings, reactions, and needs because we don't want to make them mad. Okay, so this is the people pleasers again. These are the people that, I'm worried about triggering the client the way I triggered my alcoholic dad, or I triggered my alcoholic husband, or my alcoholic addicted son. And so I walk on eggshells emotionally, and I'm very careful to remain in a positive place all the time with my clients. And what I can say to you is that's not a good sign, because there are times when you need to say things to clients that might be hard for them to hear. Okay, but somebody needs to do it. It means sometimes you have to deliver bad news. You have to say, well, I'm, based on what you're telling me, it sounds like you're really not committed to this situation. Or having to point out that, maybe their behavior in group is not helpful. Okay, and so you have to get past that instinct you have, which is that we all should be okay all the time, right? That we all need to, be mergy and sing kumbaya, because there's going to be times where that is not helpful. In fact, it may actually be not doing your job and sabotaging the client's recovery. All right? Anxiety and boundary distortion in the therapeutic relationship. And so as we develop a relationship, I might start to feel confusion, anxiety, loss of self, and that's for those of us who are really mergy. And so next, particularly vulnerable if the client has the same issues I do. They use the same drug, they have the same family kind of system. The more alike you are, the harder it is to hold your boundaries. I know the hardest clients for me are the avoidant clients, because as an avoidant codependent, my instinct is to assume that their reality is my reality. So I can feel protective when their partner starts to be kind of, clingy. I can feel myself sort of reacting to their husband, what I see as neediness. It's interesting. So I'm aware of that, and fortunately, I'm able to talk through it with my therapist or my co-facilitator. But the truth is, yeah, I get triggered sometimes by the same things that might or might not trigger the client. It could be that because of my own issues, I'm more triggered than the client. Okay, so really paying attention to when have I sort of stepped into their hula hoop and I need to get back out. Enmeshment, again, in relationships with clients, you don't confront their denial, you're tolerant of their projection, again, never challenging them, in fact, even co-signing their crap, like, oh, I can see why you'd use, given how, what a demanding, bitch your wife is, of course you drank, sort of agreeing with them, agreeing that their probation officer is a controlling jerk, yeah, the system's against you, sort of supporting them in their reasons for either doing criminal behavior or drinking and using, okay? And again, the more connected to you they are, the more like you they are, the harder this is. All right, he also says, Philip Beebe mentions that we're demonstrating 3 or more of the following. This kind of reminds me of Tim and Cermak's, DSM kind of thinking about codependency. But he says, excessive reliance on denial. So again, I'm in control. I'm not merging. My boundaries are just fine. Should say constriction of emotions. Okay, so again, my emotions start to get pretty flat. Maybe there's some depression. Hypervigilance. I'm really watchful. I feel like I'm a little paranoid about, what are the clients thinking about me? Worried about what my coworkers think of me. Kind of, weird about, is somebody watching my work? The clients talking about me? Compulsions, anxiety. I start to try to control. I have all this anxiety I'm controlling by cleaning, compulsive shopping, Sudoku, whatever your deal is. Till finally, I can't manage it anymore, and I return to substance use, either with my old drug of choice or I pick up a new one. So at 45 years old, I decide I need to start, smoking. Okay, so either way, I'm returning back to a substance to manage this free-floating anxiety. I start to tolerate emotional abuse from clients, from my kids, from my family. So I start to put up with things that I shouldn't put up with. I have stress-related medical illnesses. It's showing up in my body. So backaches, neck problems. I'm having flare-ups of my arthritis that are worse than usual. Okay, because because the internal, remember, it's like my adrenal system is constantly jacked up because I'm hypervigilant. So my body's going to start to break down. And then finally, stays in a therapeutic relationship with unchanging clients. So even though clients are making absolutely no gains whatsoever, okay, I continue to stay in this relationship. Now that doesn't mean I need to kick them out of treatment because they're not making progress, all right? But at some point, I may have to. It depends, okay? Some people change like turtles, meaning that my stresses are not changing as fast as I want them to change. But in fact, there are small improvements, right? Or is somebody making absolutely no change whatsoever? Maybe they're in the wrong level of care, okay? Maybe that we need to change up something with the counseling. I don't know. We certainly need to bring it up, which is I'm noticing that this process isn't helping. You're making no progress, and I'm concerned about that. What you don't do is not address it, and I know that's hard. Again, an uncomfortable situation. You'll have to do it. On page 86, he describes codependency issues for therapists, things like pride. I can always fix my clients. Shame, there's something wrong with me because my client's not getting better or my client relapsed. Doubt, that must mean I'm a lousy therapist because if I was any good at this, my clients would all be clean and finishing their treatment plans. So I know what I really should do is just try harder. I need to come in earlier. I need to work later. I need to spend more time with them. And then finally, I'm so exhausted from trying to do that that I hate all of my clients. I hate my job. I'm going to go work at Google. Okay, so there may be this peak of, again, for a lot of us, particularly if we were heroes in our child of origin, our solution to everything is just do it more, try it harder, just put more energy into it. And it's terrible for us. So what are some behaviors, he says? Well, he describes our triangle we've already looked at. Rescuer, persecutor, victim. We're familiar with that one. That maybe we're making it easier for them to keep using by not bringing up the fact that they smell like alcohol, not bringing up the fact that they're, nodding out in session. Okay, we're not bringing it up. We're pretending we don't notice. Or we're saying, yeah, you're right, you must be tired. Maybe we have this all-powerful belief that I should, again, pride, I should be able to make this person stay clean. After all, I got 10 years of sobriety, and without needing to take or use a drug, I could show them how to do it. Burnout. Yeah. Again, I hate everybody here. I hate my job. And the idea of our roles, like a good parent rescuing the bad, impulsive child, like they're Dennis the Menace, right? So maybe I'm overprotective, sort of maternal, right? Permissive, maybe paternal, right? Over-involved, lecturing, right? Setting them down for a talk. You and me against the world. So identify, I got this, man, I know. It's not right. We've been putting up with this for generations. This is bullshit. No wonder we use. Vicariously living out fantasies, So when they tell you war stories about all the women they had or the cars they had, you sort of get off on that. Or you think the crimes they committed are interesting or kind of hilarious, right? So you do drunkalogs with them. You let them just sort of ramble on about, their life. And part of you kind of glamorizes a little bit, thinks, God, yeah, I love those days. Now remember, the operative word here is had. The women I did have, they're gone now. Cars I had, gone now. Right? Money I had, gone. Okay. That's why we play the tape all the way through. You and me against the world. Okay, partners. Yeah, we got each other's back. Kind of homey-like, I'm going to keep the other counselors from harassing you. I'm going to, not write it down. They don't need to know you came back late. Right? I got this. And then chameleon, meaning that because I really, really don't like my client or I'm afraid of them, I overindulge them. I'm overly patient with them because I'm afraid of confronting them because they make me nervous or make me worried. So, I just poo-poo them. It's all good. Okay? So those are some ideas he had. Again, this whole course is for you to take a look at your own codependency. So you're working on it. God bless you. And taking a look at, again, how your issues are going to spill into that therapeutic relationship. Because trust and know that they will. And the key is not that that never happens. The key is spotting it and then talking about it later. If you keep it secret, if you don't talk about it, if you have a shame attack, it gets worse. I promise. Okay? When you talk about it, it sort of diminishes. It fizzles away. Alrighty. Take care.